Thanks very much for joining, everybody. Welcome to today's session. This is Legal and General says yes to realizing value faster with ServiceNow Impact. Before we get started, I'm just going to go over some housekeeping items. First, it's the obligatory safe harbor notice. This presentation may contain forward-looking statements that reflect the current beliefs of ServiceNow and are not based on necessarily all of the current information available. So forward-looking statements should not be relied upon in making purchasing decisions. Today's session is part of the Live on ServiceNow series. So that's curated events to connect you with ServiceNow experts and peers that can help you deploy your products and achieve value faster. We hope you join us again at another webinar or 360 exchange. And you can see the schedule by scanning the QR code or using the link in the chat. So the housekeeping. So we really want to encourage you to ask questions. This is your session. This is an opportunity for us to learn together and hear your feedback. And you're going to be hearing from a couple of amazing speakers as well. So encourage those questions. We'll reserve time at the end of the presentation for any more detailed Q&A, but also use the Q&A feature within Zoom to ask questions throughout the session. The session's recorded and it will be shared on the ServiceNow community afterwards. And also feel free to head over to the Impact Product Hub on our community, where you can engage with experts, ask questions, see the latest innovations, and also look at where we've got other up-and-coming events. Finally, at the end, look out for the survey following the session. We really love to hear your thoughts and feedback. So we've got a pretty awesome session today, and we have the pleasure of hosting one of our customers here in the UK, Legal and General. And I'll let Andy in a moment introduce himself. But my name's Andrew Beals. I've been with ServiceNow for nearly 6 years. I'm part of our Customer Outcomes EMEA leadership team. So Customer Outcomes is the part of ServiceNow that exists to make customers wildly successful on everything you do on our platform, as well as to work and activate our wonderful ecosystem of partners. What we're going to talk about here today is how we work with customers like Legal and General to really get them to value in the fastest way possible. And we know that that takes a holistic set of capabilities and a laser focus on the things that are most important. And we're going to see that and get that brought to life, and I'll also answer any questions that you have around that particular topic. Matt, would you like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yes, thank you, Andrew. Hey, everyone. My name is Matt Hong. I'm a product manager at ServiceNow, and I focus on the Impact product. I'm really excited to walk you through what we've been working on.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. And Andy, if you'd like to introduce yourself, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Andrew. Morning all, Andy Stevens. So ServiceNow platform owner at Legal and General. I've been there for nearly 5 years now in that role. And have been doing kind of similar roles at other ServiceNow customers in the UK for the last 15 or so years.
Awesome. So if you don't know something about ServiceNow, the chances are Andy will know about it. So do feel free to ask questions as we go through this. Now, before we dive in, I want to just start with a bit of a poll. Yeah, so that you're going to have something pop up by the power of magic to ask you a particular question. And it's really when we think about business value and how you feel like you're getting to value from ServiceNow. How do you track the value, and are you confident that you're receiving the full value from ServiceNow? I know a few people that I've spoken to in the past around this topic, most recently, have got a lot of time and effort put into manually generated reports. So how are you feeling about that? How do you sort of trigger? I can see some of the data coming in. So a number of you actually do have formal metrics and dashboards. That's awesome. No one yet going purely by gut feeling, although I think trust your gut on a lot of things is not necessarily bad advice. But what we do know is that if you can measure it and report it, you can change it. So more than half of you there manually generated reports, and some of you not doing yet anything yet to track. So don't worry. Value realization, I know, has always been a topic that is in the top 10 priority of every IT team, and it's usually sitting down there at 7 or 8. And as a result, it means you never get to it. because we've all got the other pressures from the business and the other constraints. What we've seen, though, over time is that actually value realization has gently bubbled to the top. And certainly with the ServiceNow platform, with its single architecture and data model, there's a real opportunity to actually use that to focus on the decisions that you take and really speed time to value. And we've put a lot of R&D into that. And it's something that Matt's going to talk about in a second, which is if you measure it, you can change it. And we're going to try and bring that to life through the power of the platform and the impact digital experience. Once Matt's finished taking us through that, then we're going to hear directly from the star of the show, Andy, to talk a bit about the journey that he's been on with the platform and with Legal & General. And then we'll go into a bit of a fireside chat and also answer any questions that you have. So, Matt, over to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Andrew. It's my pleasure to introduce you to ServiceNow Impact today. So ServiceNow Impact, like Andrew mentioned, it's a value acceleration solution designed to maximize your investment with ServiceNow. It's built directly on the Now platform, and it combines predictive software with human ingenuity to keep your platform healthy and speed your time to value. We offer personalized insights, recommendations, value tracking and industry benchmarking, best practices, content, learning, and premium technical support, all centralized in a beautiful experience built and continuously iterated for you. So with Impact, we've kind of created a new category of software, which we call value acceleration. What does that exactly mean? Well, we know that almost 75% or 3 out of every 4 SaaS investments fail to deliver actualized ROI. And with Impact, it was designed to accelerate the value our customers realize on their investments in the Now platform by providing them with the tools, guidance, and insights every step of the way to meet their desired outcomes. So what exactly does Impact look like? Well, I'm going to take us through a quick demo, and we'll see through the lens of a platform owner named Jackie. So Jackie starts her day right here, as we can see, on Impact's homepage. This is a single pane of glass that's personalized for her value acceleration journey. At the very top here, she reviews key activities and deliverables that need her immediate attention. The Impact homepage includes personalized recommendations for Jackie, including training that can help amplify her expertise as a platform owner. ServiceNow Impact leverages AI to provide future guidance. So all the activity that Jackie performs within the portal will train this personalization engine to further refine future recommendations for her. Scrolling down further, she reviews the business objectives and initiatives that are going to support her value journey. And here she can see a few, like improving compliance, scaling her field service operations. One that is going to be huge for her team is increasing employee productivity. This is a big goal that will require all hands on deck and includes an array of products. You can see here for ensuring high availability, another objective that there are many different products that are involved in here as well. Scrolling down further, Jackie also reviews her Impact entitlements. Aside from managing her value journey, as we see here, Impact also includes valuable resources like advisory sessions, which are expert-led workshops where Jackie can ask ServiceNow technical experts on best practices to help achieve her goals. Accelerators, which are fixed scope offerings to help accelerate the ServiceNow journey, such as design reviews or maturity assessments, as well as learning credits to help Jackie receive tailored guidance, skills, and expertise at the right time. Here, it looks like she has a handful of learning credits available, which she can use for certifications and courses to help upskill her team on the ServiceNow platform. Scrolling back up and on the right-hand side here, Jackie can get a quick snapshot into the status of all her recommended ServiceNow capabilities that will accelerate her company's path to value. This is across all of the products that her company has purchased and is split up by their implementation status. Platform health is also top of mind for platform owners just like Jackie. With a healthy platform, she can push innovation to her users with confidence. Right here at the homepage, Jackie can monitor her instance health so she can see key metrics and track trends across all of the instances that she manages. Now, Impact is all about personalized and personalization. And one way that we also provide that is through providing the right product content at the right time. Through a machine learning algorithm, Jackie also receives personalized content recommendations, enabling her to adopt ServiceNow products even quicker. And of course, if she needs any support or has any questions, she can initiate a conversation with her Impact Squad to quickly receive the support that she needs. Whoops, excuse me. Jackie has access to an entire Impact Squad here, which consists of technical and success experts that will guide her through her ServiceNow journey here. Lastly, on the top right here, Jackie reviews the Impact Foundation section. This is what makes Impact such an exciting value prop for our clients. We've analyzed thousands of customer engagements, which enabled us to create a step-by-step operating system that helps customers deliver maximum value in the shortest time possible. With Impact Foundations, Jackie knows where her company is in the value journey. So now that Jackie has a good sense as to how her ServiceNow orgs are doing, it's time to get to work. She first wants to head to the capabilities map to see the ServiceNow products that her company currently owns today. For the first time ever, Jackie has a clear view into all of her ServiceNow entitlements. She can specifically see here what has been adopted, what's currently being implemented, not yet adopted, and is broken up by products on the left-hand side here. This will help her identify new capabilities that will support her CIO's vision. She also has the ability to edit and manage the capabilities map on her own right here. So for example, she knows that change management, instead of being an implementation, is actually in use today. She could change the status right on here. In case she's unclear about what any of these capabilities that come with these products are, she can click in and read more, as well as get access to real-time resources to help her implement as well as adopt these products. So as you can see here, her company owns a lot of different ServiceNow products across many different functions, from creator, customer, and technology workflows. And she knows that ITSM is going to be a big part of her initiative, but there's still a lot of unknowns for her. For example, what metrics should she use to measure her success? And that's where value blueprints come in. Value blueprints are a tried and tested methodology to understand, track, and measure what customers want to achieve. In this self-service experience, Jackie can select all of the ServiceNow products that IT owns. So for example, ITSM in this case. And if we save and continue right here, Impact will automatically generate these success metrics based on the objectives that our company already has. So for example, in this case, let's say optimizing incident content channels is one that's top of mind for her CIO. She can handpick and select this recommendation to track this metric for her organization. Now, let's say we'll fast forward a little bit. It's been a few months. The team has been hard at work. How can they track their progress? Well, they can do so through Impact. Through Impact, Jackie can easily see the KPIs for their business objectives. She has this one singular view into all the metrics that she is currently measuring, split up by the business objectives. So let's see the one that we just created, one for increasing employee productivity, which we saw right here. And there are two outcomes here, one for reducing disruption from incidents by duration as well as by volume. She can quickly see what products are involved in the success of these metrics, and can also dig in deeper to look at the overall trend over time to see how they're performing and reaching their goals. Now, this is a slice across all of the objectives that she has, but what if she wanted to see how a specific product like ITSM was performing? Well, with business value, Jackie can dive into value reports for the products that she owns. For example, we'll take a look at ITSM here again. With their investment in ITSM, Jackie's company has generated over $8 million in value across these three business objectives that we see here. From here, we can break it down by each objective and see actually how are we calculating these numbers. And you can see it's based on these outcomes right here. So this was just a quick sneak peek into how Jackie and platform owners of the world's top companies are leveraging ServiceNow Impact today to accelerate their time to value and increase their overall ROI from their investment in ServiceNow. So with that, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm happily turn it back to Andrew.
Oh, you're on mute, Andrew.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, I was starting to talk on mute there. Classic. I do that about 3 times a day. Matt, thank you so much for that. That was a really helpful tour. And what I think, just something that I've observed over the 2+ years now that we've had Impact and that digital experience is, I think every customer is using that digital experience to greater and lesser extent, but they're all getting material value from it. And it's changing the way they can go have conversations with the business and with their leadership, which is really, really powerful. So it's super exciting. And thank you for giving us that glimpse. So, Andy, I wanted to turn it to you for a few minutes. Take us through the story of your journey with ServiceNow and at Legal & General, and what you've been focusing on, and then we'll move into a bit of a fireside chat with some other specific questions. And to the audience participating, any other questions that you want to ask, anything that's come out of what Matt just showed you as well, feel free to drop them in the Q&A and we'll come to them. All right, Andy, over to you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Andrew. So as I said in the first intro, I've been working as a platform owner or product owner for the last 15 years. So a number of customers in the UK. It wasn't my first exposure to ITIL or IT service management, but definitely it was a product that once I saw it, I was quite wedded to it as a career path. And I've been at Legal & General for 5 years as platform owner, although Legal & General has had ServiceNow for longer than that. So our instance is 9, nearly 10 years old now. So Andrew, if you could pop onto the next slide. So a little bit of information about Legal & General, but really in ways that might resonate with how your companies are set up and the challenges that you're facing. So as a financial institution, we're highly regulated. So everything that we're doing process-wise has a view to how it deals with audit and compliance. And quite weirdly for me, ServiceNow is part of signing off our accounts for Legal & General as we host the change management process. So really used to being kind of under quite a lot of scrutiny for audit and needing to be able to justify the performance of the processes in ServiceNow through that. Legal & General is genuinely a purpose-driven organization. So we talk about responsible capitalism and a lot of the conversations that we have about social contribution and how Legal & General interacts with our communities happens on a weekly and monthly basis. It's not just something that's touched on kind of once a year and then forgotten. We're predominantly based in the UK, although that is changing over time and is presenting us with a number of opportunities in how we deploy ServiceNow and a number of challenges in how we accommodate people with different languages, different locations, different support hours, all part of growing our service offering. If you could hop to the next slide. So I work as part of group technology within group functions, and we're acting as the service integrator within Legal & General. So we have a number of business areas that have independent requirements and needs that set in different ways their own technical direction, although they're supported from the centre. So I'm dealing with a number of stakeholders in different business units with very different requirements and focuses. So one area of Legal & General involves investment and trading decisions where there's some elements of short-term outlooks. Other parts of the business are dealing with pension annuities where 20 years is considered a short-term view and 30, 40 or 50 is really where people are focusing. So there's a lot of variety in the stakeholders that we're dealing with. As part of that, different business areas and different elements of group technology are supported by different partner organizations. So we're working with colleagues from a number of companies. Now, Legal & General very much has a kind of badges at the door approach. So everyone is a colleague, everyone is treated the same, but it still involves integrating with a number of different technologies, capabilities, organizations, and ways of working. And we've got a rich variety of technologies that we're supporting. So Legal & General is a very long established company. And that means that some of our technology and technology stacks has been around for quite a long time. So some elements are on mainframe, but we're also dealing with far more cutting edge and recent technologies, and we're really working at how we run our processes across that entire tech stack. So dealing with lots of different capabilities, technologies, and different software. Okay, that's a quick intro to L&G done. Back over to you, Andrew.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think, you know, the history that we've had, you know, in partnership with L&G, it's been fascinating to see how, you know, Andy, you've evolved, you know, your team and the way you focus and prioritize. And then, you know, through, you know, even closer partnership with Impact and the solution and the squad, what that started to look like. So, no, I mean, really insightful. Thank you for that background. I'm sure that was helpful for folks listening in. So what we're going to do now then is wanted to sort of, I guess, do a bit of a fireside here on a series of questions that we think it'd be relevant for you to answer. I know when you've spoken at some of our other events, I think everyone's very fascinated by your perspective on how you're driving value and how you maximize the platform for the business. So maybe to kick it off, first question then is, you know, what have been some of the sort of key platform priorities that you're driving, and how does ServiceNow fit into that?
So we centralized a lot of our processes around 5 years ago, which was the project that brought me to Legal & General, providing technology from group tech in the centre. And a central focus of that throughout that time has been our change management process. And I've talked a few times about our journey through DevOps adoption, so automated change management. And we were focusing on that over the last 6 months, but it's been a journey that the company's really been on for the last 3 or 4 years. We've recently had our first zero touch in ServiceNow change, touching a production system. So DevOps, through the integration with GitHub and Jira and the pipeline for deployment there, validated the new code to be deployed, logged the change, had it approved after it was checked in ServiceNow, and then deployed automatically. And that was a really big thing for us about enabling our engineers to deliver at higher velocity and have them focused on their day jobs rather than having them spending time creating and filling out multiple change request forms. So that's quite a transformational one for us, and has been a real focus over the last sort of 3-6 months. We're also piloting an integration with Microsoft Teams. So I think everyone's inbox is somewhat flooded these days. And that does mean that some of the notifications and calls to action that we're sending are struggling for attention along with other things. And maybe people are getting to them, you know, a day after they're sent. And we found that by being very selective with what we're sending over that Teams integration, those call to actions to approve requests or to respond an update to an incident that a user might have logged are really speeding up our ability to deliver those items. So our initial pilot was speeding up request approval by about 20%, so taking half a day off the average time to approve a number of actions. So just enabling people to work faster. And then the last piece is a big focus on how we report, how we dashboard, how we make sure that different stakeholders and colleagues in L&G are calling comparing the same thing. So when one team's talking about velocity of change, they're using the same measures, the same key data points as another business area. So we've been producing more dashboards and reports centrally, where previously we've been relying on process owners or individual stakeholders to generate those reports. So that's been the focus recently.
Yeah, got it. So, I mean, takeaways there for me were you're driving some material transformation in the business, improving productivity and quality, but you're actually also doing some fairly fundamental things on the back end to really change the way business is done and how your team operate. Can you expand a bit then on the operating model that you have to sort of drive that transformation, both like the run and the change, and try to bring it to life in terms of partners and the way in which you work with those?
Yep. So we've got a central platform team. There's about 15 of us these days, which I find is quite an unusual number when talking to other ServiceNow customers. It's either more than people have, or I feel like we've got a tiny team compared to some of your customers. With that number of team members, what that means is we're not split into dedicated Scrum teams for each platform area. So our engineers will be working across the entire platform. So one week they'll be working on ITSM, the next week they might be working on software asset management or on event or discovery work. So kind of keeping people interested and fresh, bouncing around there. We've got 2 internal product owners who face off to our process teams. So they're responsible for talking to our stakeholders, understanding their requirements, and making sure that we're prioritizing them in a consistent way. And that's enabled by our demand and value manager. So she joined the team about 6 months ago now, and she's been central in getting our demand board up and running. And that's really hammering on the value conversation. So people have always articulated the value that a story will deliver to them. And what we've been focusing on now is what value it delivers to the business and the value it delivers relative to other stories in our backlog, because everyone was always able to prioritize their requests. So if somebody had 10 items in our backlog, they could say what they wanted us to deal with first. But when we're across 200 stakeholders, it doesn't really help if you've got 200 prioritized to-do lists. So our demand and value manager has been focusing on that. We've got a number of engineers, and some of those are provided by NTT Data, who's our main partner for ServiceNow resourcing. And they've been embedded with the team for the last 18, 24 months. And we really do treat them just as any other team member. And then we've got 2 apprentice engineers who've been with us for 5 months now, and they're on a 3-year degree course to actually get a degree in ServiceNow, which is something that I never would have thought was possible when I started working with ServiceNow 15 years ago. And I'm a little bit jealous of them, because I'd love to get a degree that says, I really know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's the team at Legal & General.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that sounds really good. And working with the partner as well, I think, something that we very much advocate is, the tri-party model of, you and L&G, I think, exemplify this perfectly, which is, you've got a core team. Yes, you're wearing multiple hats because of your size and scale, super common, but you really control the platform. You are there owning the business processes, engaging with the business, being the evangelist, but working with a partner at the right time, and also with direct skin in the game from ServiceNow as the software vendor. And in terms of the impact, so for the audience here, right, impact, we've intentionally put lots in it as a solution and a product. So Matt showed you sort of the digital experience. There's also some considerable advisory and human engagement as well. And a part of that is the squad. Andy, can you bring to life a little bit how the squad engages in that operating model?
Yeah, so they're central to all of our ceremonies, all of our planning. So they're really involved in everything that we do. They're just another part of the team. Some really key things that they've done is help get those connections through to the right expert, right? So it's never about that first question that we have. It's about finding somebody that can help me work out what the actual question I want answered. So an expert that's done nothing but work in that product area for the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm coming in and asking that new question about a new module that we're looking at or a new capability, and they're able to point us at really what we should be focused on, and how to avoid some of the pitfalls that other people might have encountered implementing that element of the tool. So that's really a big one, those expert connect and advisory sessions, the workshops, all different ways of getting my team and also my process stakeholders access to people that can help us answer the questions that we've got. And then the accelerators have been a big help for us in a number of places, and perhaps unintuitively so in a few cases. So our instance is about 9 years old. So, we're not coming and implementing change management or incident management for the first time. But because our instance is 9 years old, our implementation is based off how ServiceNow worked 9 years ago. So a lot of what we're doing is trying to get back to what out of the box would look like today in a fresh instance. And those accelerators have been really helpful in giving us a checklist to compare against and say, if you're implementing change management fresh today, how would you do it? And we saw how to take a number of our ITSM processes back very close to that model. And that was really central for us in then being able to unlock the DevOps capability, because before we had a customized 3 times change process where it had initially been set up, it had been tweaked for the business area it worked in, and then it had been tweaked again when we centralized technology provision in group functions. So really working out what it would look like as a clean vanilla implementation and bringing it back to that.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think, a whole piece around having a platform that's proficient to operate and run, but crucially that's scalable is pretty key. And it sort of brings me on very nicely to the next question. Clearly AI, is there in everyone's mind as what is the opportunity? How do we make sure we're ready to exploit it? How are you sort of thinking about AI and in the context of ServiceNow and Impact? Is it something you've given much thought to yet?
So I was lucky enough to attend Knowledge last year, and it was one of the big focuses of the event, which meant that as soon as I came back from that, actually one of the first things I did was get an expert connect session with somebody in the AI team to take us through that and to really get a better understanding of the roadmap and what we'd need to do to implement AI Legal in General. So I think, like a lot of companies, we're taking a cautious approach to AI. So there's a lot of interest from different stakeholders, a lot of people talking about the potential, but we're really taking our time to analyze what's required, understand the benefits and the outcomes it will deliver, and really kind of make sure that we're being intentional in the AI decisions that we make.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And if I think about what I've seen analysts are saying about how organizations can be ready to take opportunity from AI, I think one of their big takeaways for me is that the way organizations have operated historically, it may not be a suitable way of working to really unlock and drive the innovation that's going to be there with AI. I mean, we've already got some really exciting use cases with the ServiceNow platform. I have a feeling that's going to be like an exponential curve in terms of the use cases. And all of the analysts are saying closer interaction with your strategic vendors. So in this particular case, ServiceNow as the platform vendor are going to be critical to really exploiting it and getting value from it. And so we're trying to get ahead of that, in fact, with Impact and what we're putting in Impact. So it's really interesting to hear your perspective there. Next piece then, and it sort of comes back to, I guess, that topic on, what you saw with Matt, and the business value. We know, though, that you can't unlock full value without a strong and healthy platform foundation. So platform health was obviously a key concern of many customers, and you've already touched on it in a few places there, based on the journey that you've been on and L&G have been on with ServiceNow. How has Impact and the Impact Squad helped, around platform health specifically?
So some specific activities that we focused on are the health scan. So this is getting an assessment of how our instances are running, areas that aren't performant, areas that might have some security challenges. So our security score is watched very closely. So we have one team member who, whenever there's a fresh health scan, she'll jump on it and be looking at what we can do to keep that score as high as possible. We were at 99% at one point, and I think it's been a focus to stay very close to that. So it gives us lots of targeted activities to do to ensure that our instance is running appropriately. We've also taken the Centre of Excellence model and really put that in all of our ways of working. So another good example of how Impact has improved platform health is our TDA. So the way that we make sure that any customization decisions or other decisions that might impact the platform health are really assessed and considered. and that's led by our platform architect and my engineering lead. And between them, they're really providing that validation so that everything that's being proposed to go onto the platform is assessed with that view to long-term health of the platform. But it's more pervasive than that. So it's not about individual activities. It's about talking to the right people who are exposing the ways of working, sharing better practice, talking about what's coming up in future versions and allowing you to influence that more so that your day-to-day activities are more in line with what's going to be beneficial for the platform as a whole. It's no use running a health assessment once a month if everyone's making the same mistakes they were making 6 months ago and creating new findings. So it's about taking those things as lessons learned, getting experts in specific areas of the platform and making sure that we're really all learning as time goes on in what leads to a healthy and performant platform.
Yeah, really good. I know there's the capability, and I'm not sure whether Matt drilled in on it specifically, but there's platform health in the context of peers. So other than it being really quite a fascinating data point that everyone loves to see is how does their platform health compare to peers? The value of that is we've got the machine learning and AI baked into the platform so that it can make that contextual best, next best action recommendation, which I sort of feel like is super cool. So next question, and by the way, anyone in the audience, if you want to ask a question in the Q&A, feel free to drop it in. I can keep an eye on the screen there, and we'll try and take a swing at it as best we can. So Andy, next question around sort of partnership. Super transparent. One of the things I love about the ServiceNow community and knowledge, etc., is that it is there for everyone to share and learn. So in the interests of transparency, what's one thing you would improve about Impact? Knowing that we've been on this journey for some time, but we launched Impact in 2022. And I know you've already contributed a lot of ideas and areas where things could be improved. But, in the interests of that transparency, have you got any top of mind thoughts on how you'd like to see things evolve?
So the item that we've been talking the most about with our success architect and really working on improving is the capability map. So you saw it in the demo a few minutes ago. It's a great start, but I want the next level of granularity. So I'll give a specific example. There's a capability that's now standard out of the box called checklists. So literally like little tick lists that you can add to any task that wasn't part of the core platform when we went live. Now, I only found out about it because I was doing some training on another topic and I randomly came across it. But I'd love it if that capability could say, here's this little plugin that you're not taking advantage of. It will only take you, a couple of days to assess this, turn it on, and share that capability with your users. And it might make some of them just 10% more efficient. But that 2 days worth of work, because you're just installing an out-of-the-box plugin, could be a lot more impactful than a conversation about, let's do 6 months of work on delivering this big ticket item. So I'd love to get a prescriptive list of the next 50 plugins or capabilities or things that we should be looking to turn on just to deliver 1% more value.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I know that there's a ton of work in flight on the roadmap around the capability map, but I can completely hear you there. That would be, tremendously valuable. And in terms of what Matt shared there on that other piece, what are the sort of the big things that have meant that you get really maximum value? Is there anything else top of mind there?
So a couple of things. So one was the business objectives and having those central to everything that you're putting into the IDE. So articulating those high level key outcomes and making sure that when you're looking at a new activity, it actually maps to one of those outcomes. So we've been talking, L&G, about saying no to more activities, which is always a fantastic thing to hear from your stakeholders. But then it's always really difficult to make the decision. And I think if you're able to match everything up against your business objectives, it makes it that little bit easier to say, actually, while this sounds like a great thing to do in the system, it's not really top of anyone's list. So let's look at deprioritizing that. And then following on from that, I guess the next level of granularity, it's that way that value is consistently discussed everywhere. So understanding the value of a story, the value of a process or a capability, and really being able to translate that into a meaningful conversation with our stakeholders about why we should be continuing down certain routes, or what that would unlock in terms of business savings. Because, budgets are always a challenge, in any way that we can unlock more value for our process owners gets jumped on all the time.
Yeah, no, that's super insightful. And I think, a big part of what, again, customers I speak to, where we've been on this journey with Impact, some of the fundamental components are around premium support as well, like faster response times, direct access to engineers. They're all the sort of table stakes, I guess, that are there as part of that. And then, what we're building on and really sharing here are those things that, really move the dial in terms of what you want to get done and the transformation. So one final one from me then, looking forward, what's sort of next on the roadmap for you? What's your next set of real focus areas?
So I think key for us is continuing that topic I started with, the Teams integration. So about communicating the right calls to actions to our colleagues in the channels they want. So we're looking at adding more processes to our Teams integration. We're looking at using mobile, which is something that's been wanted at L&G by some of our stakeholders for a while, but really just assessing where that sits between some of our business units and some of our process owners. Capabilities like Notify for on-call scheduling, so managing our out-of-hours call-out in platform centrally. So all consistent on that theme. And then we've got a few capabilities that we're looking to assess. So we're looking to do a lot more with IRM potentially. We've got a proof of concept for that coming up. And I think everyone recognises that things to do with ESG and specifically environmental impact, so carbon footprint of everything in our data centre, is a really important topic. And I think what we're getting to is how urgent it is for some of our teams. So really understanding, the impact in terms of carbon footprint of a decision between different hosting options, or enabling colleagues to make decisions on end user computing devices, which laptop to get, partially based on the environmental impact that machine will have. So just being a bit more transparent and letting people see what, the impact of their decisions.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, you're not short of a few activities there then on the roadmap. And I wish you luck with all of those, and we're excited to be a part of that journey with you, Andy. So look, Andy, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I always thoroughly enjoy our conversations, and again, how you're sort of driving the platform and championing the platform to achieve material results, right, for L&G. And I think that's what that I love to hear, and that's why we love hearing you speak as well. All right. Any other questions from folks in the audience? You have about 10 seconds before I move to some what's next and close. So if there's anything that either I've covered, that Matt shared in his in his short product tour, or that Andy's talked to there, feel free to fire something in, because I know with all these things, I don't want folks going away with any misconceptions, and so if we can address those here and now, then that would be perfect. All right, it looks like everyone's pretty good. So with that, let me move to what's coming next. So Andy, thanks again for the partnership, that time today, and you sharing it. Really, really appreciate it. I think the community component to all of this is, one of the things that I like getting out of bed for, because I love this sharing of knowledge and ideas, and we sort of break down some of the walls in retaining that knowledge. So that's really, really great, and really appreciate the time. So for everyone, before we go, there's a few quick things. So we host these webinars monthly. There is I think a break in May for Knowledge. So any folks that may be at Knowledge, you'll be hearing lots of stories like this. But be sure to register for the next one in June that's on the community. Similarly, join the Impact community, and you can find today's recording as well as other up-and-coming events, and then you can engage with that through the Impact Community Forum. So you can use the QR codes to get to both of those. And then finally, if it's not too late, and if you're not already there, come and join us in Vegas for Knowledge. It's May the 7th to the 9th. For folks that have been or not been before, it's quite an incredible experience. And again, it's even more knowledge sharing as well. So with that, thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all a great rest of the day.